What's going on? It's Fight Season MMA, and today I want to do a quick video talking about, is there really any way that I believe that Jon Jones can beat Tom Aspinall right now? We all know that this is the fight that Tom Aspinall has been called for ever since he won the interim title at UFC 295, and just defending the interim title at UFC 304, he proceeded to call out Jon Jones right after. But is there truly a way that I believe Jon Jones can go in there and beat Tom Aspinall? Because there doesn't seem like there are many ways, but if you guys enjoy the UFC content, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. That is the best way to show support to my YouTube. And while you're down there, please turn on the post notifications just so you guys are always notified when I release content. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers, so please go down there and hit that subscribe button. It would mean absolutely a ton if you did so, but let's jump right into the video. Is there really any way that Jon Jones can beat Tom Aspinall, in my opinion? So, as we all know, Jon Jones is probably going to fight Stipe Miocic this November at UFC 309, and Tom Aspinall might be the backup for that fight, as Dana White has announced, which is absolutely crazy, in my opinion, to let the interim champion be the backup for that card. But is there really a way, if Jon Jones wins, that this fight with Tom Aspinall happens and Jon Jones remains undefeated? Because that Matt Hamill loss that he had possibly could get overturned due to the rule shift of the elbows. But Tom Aspinall is one of the biggest, most dynamic, most athletic heavyweights we have ever seen in the UFC, and that is something that is absolutely insane to be able to watch. And Tom Aspinall possesses power, jiu-jitsu ability, that incredible size that would actually be bigger than Jon Jones, an amazing chin, and so much more. But Jon Jones is getting older, and Tom Aspinall is a younger, more hungry fighter in that heavyweight division. So is there any way I see Jon Jones beating the upcoming fighter in Tom Aspinall? And I do see a way that Jon Jones can use that wrestling pedigree that he has used throughout his entire UFC. We all know that Jon Jones in his older age isn't going to be as agile, not only because of being older, but also because of being heavier, of putting on all that weight to be able to fight in the heavyweight division, where Tom Aspinall is one of the biggest, most agile fighters in the UFC currently. When looking at someone like Tom Aspinall versus Jon Jones, or looking at a fight between those two, there's really not that many ways that I see Jon Jones winning other than getting him to the ground and submitting him, because the longer that this fight lasts, the longer it's going to weigh on Jon Jones. We still have a big question upon Jon Jones being able to fight at heavyweight, because when he did fight Cyril Gane, it was for 2 minutes, just taking him down and submitting him. I don't even know what he used, kind of a guillotine, just pressing on his head. But Tom Aspinall, we know, has cardio, but he also has the shortest fight time currently in the UFC, just over 2 minutes, which is absolutely insane considering his last fights were 1 minute and 13 seconds versus Marcin Tybura, 1 minute and 7 seconds versus Sergey Pavlovich, and a minute exactly versus Curtis Blades. So if you're Jon Jones, you got to do a lot of things in this fight in order to win, and there has to be some luck involved. You got to first be able to be incredibly elusive, dodging the incredibly fast attacks of Tom Aspinall, because if you get lit up once, he's the greatest finisher in the UFC currently, to where if you get hurt, he is hunting for blood and has that killer instinct to get you outside the octagon. Now, Jon Jones is going to also have to take him down early, and this is a very hard task considering that Tom Aspinall also has great jiu-jitsu and wrestling ability. He submitted Alexander Volkov, and that is something absolutely insane because most UFC heavyweights don't have a submission game behind them. We know Jailton Almeida has somewhat of a submission game, but he has no striking ability whatsoever, and Tom Aspinall possesses that submission game and possesses that striking ability as well. But Jon Jones is going to have to use his strength and get Tom Aspinall out of the realm that he's most comfortable in, and that is the striking department. But the longer Jon Jones stays on the feet, the easier the fight is going to be for Tom Aspinall, because the longer he risks of getting clipped by some crazy shot coming in his direction. And that is something that you truly cannot, impact or have when you are going up against someone like Tom Aspinall. Jon Jones is going to have a very hard time with this fight if this fight ends up happening, and I truly do not think it's going to happen. I know Dana White says that competitive spirit in Jon Jones is going to keep going, but I think Jon Jones is going to understand that Tom Aspinall is one of the hardest fights to have inside the UFC octagon, just because of that dynamic size and ability to really... It's uncanny for the heavyweight division of being that big and that fast and being that light on your feet. He really has the punching speed of a middle or welterweight inside the UFC. But Jon Jones, if he's gonna win, like I said, he's gonna have to take Tom Aspinall down and submit him. But the only issue there is Tom Aspinall is a great jiu-jitsu and wrestling artist, and I actually think that Tom Aspinall is a better, well-rounded fighter than Jon Jones at heavyweight. Not saying overall, because in the heavyweight division, Tom Aspinall is going to have more power, he's going to have more speed, and Jon Jones is 100% the better wrestler and grappler, but Tom Aspinall can hold his own on the ground down there, and that is something I think is going to be massive for him to be able to use to be able to defend against submission attempts and different ground control times in that standpoint. I don't think John Jones can, I don't think it would be as easy to submit Tom Aspinall as it would be Cyril Gane. And that is something that is absolutely crazy. We all know that John Jones' strategy versus Cyril Gane was to take him down instantly, and that's what he did, and it prevailed throughout that fight. But Tom Aspinall is going to be able to get up. He's going to be able to strike again. And the difference between him and Cyril Gane doesn't hit like a truck. Tom Aspinall has some of the most unworldly power inside the UFC. You look at the jab that he hit Curtis Blades with, the Sergey Pavlovich knockout, the Marcin Tybura knockout. Tom Aspinall is genuinely one of the best UFC fighters currently in the organization, and I think that he is going to give John Jones a world of problems if they do end up fighting. I do think Tom Aspinall should be the favorite if going into this fight. Not saying John Jones can't win, because there is always an avenue where John Jones can win, considering that he is the GOAT. He has some of the greatest experience built up throughout his UFC tenure, and he has some of the greatest IQ the UFC has ever seen. But he is getting older, like I've said multiple times, and Tom Aspinall is under 30, so I do think that is going to be a massive advantage for Tom Aspinall, being able to also have some of the experience as well. Ultimately, I do think Tom Aspinall can and will win this fight against John Jones, but there is a way for John Jones to beat Tom Aspinall, and it isn't just a one-sided affair just to Tom Aspinall's part. I do think, though, that this would be the hardest fight of John Jones's career. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Fight Season MMA, and please let me know what you think about a possible matchup between John Jones versus Tom Aspinall for the heavyweight title, unifying the belts. And please let me know if you think that there is any way that John Jones could possibly win a fight against Tom Aspinall, because there is some ways in my opinion, but I don't think there is that much of an action for John Jones to be able to go out there and beat Tom Aspinall in the striking department. He can definitely beat him on the ground, but Tom Aspinall has great jiu-jitsu and great wrestling to combat John Jones's offensive wrestling and grappling. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Fight Season MMA, and please hit that subscribe button since 97.2% of my viewers are not subscribed, and we're on the road to 1,000 subscribers, so it would mean an absolute ton if you were able to go down there and hit that subscribe button to help support the channel and the road to growing this UFC content. If you guys enjoy the videos and enjoy the news, please hit the post notifications as well, just so you guys are always notified when UFC content drops and other different content comes your way. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Fight Season MMA, and I will catch you guys soon with more UFC content and news.